Taxes. We all pay them, or at least we're supposed to. But here's the problem. The rules aren't the same for everyone. The wealthy often pay a smaller share of their income than you do. That's not fair, that's not justice, and that's not how a healthy society works.
Did you use that $916 million loss to avoid paying personal federal income taxes for
Of course I do. Of course I do. And so do all of her donors, or most of her donors. I know many of her donors. Her donors took massive tax write-offs.
So have
a
you
lot
not
of
paid
my
personal federal income tax?
A lot of my write-off was depreciation and other things that Hillary, as a senator, allowed. And she'll always allow it because the people that give her all this money, they want it. That's why. See, I understand the tax code better than anybody that's ever run for president. Hillary Clinton, and it's extremely complex, Hillary Clinton has friends that want all of these provisions, including they want the carried interest provision, which is very important to Wall Street people, but they really want the carried interest provision, which I believe Hillary's leaving. It's very interesting why she's leaving carried interest. But I will tell you that, number one, I pay tremendous numbers of taxes. I absolutely used it, and so did Warren Buffett, and so did George Soros, and so did many of the other people that Hillary is getting money from. Now, I won't mention their names because they're rich, but they're not famous, so we won't make them famous.
Can you say how many years you have avoided paying personal federal income taxes?
No, but I pay tax, and I pay federal tax, too. But I have a write-off. A lot of it's depreciation, which is a wonderful charge. I love depreciation. You know, she's given it to us. Hey, if she had a problem, for 30 years she's been doing this, Anderson. I say it all the time. She talks about health care. Why didn't she do something about it? She talks about taxes. Why didn't she do something about it? She doesn't do anything about anything other than talk. With her, it's all talk and no action.
In the past,
and again, Bernie Sanders, it's really bad judgment. She has made bad judgment not only on taxes, she's made bad judgments on Libya, on Syria, on Iraq. I mean, her and Obama, whether you like it or not, the way they got out of Iraq, the vacuum they've left, that's why ISIS formed in the first place. They started from that little area, and now they're in 32 different nations, Hillary. Congratulations. Great job.
Across the world, billionaires legally avoid paying their fair share through tax loopholes, offshore accounts, and complex laws the average citizen could never exploit. What if everyone paid the same percentage of their income? Whether you make $30,000 a year or $30 million, you contribute the same slice of the pie. No loopholes, no secret escapes.
First and foremost, we'll put an end to agreements with other countries that permit tax havens. Secondly, we'll put a requirement in place that countries or the companies have to show an economic purpose when they register in a foreign country. And if there isn't an actual economic purpose, then they still have to pay their taxes. We'll do an analysis of the existing laws to find any loopholes and put an end to them to stop tax havens from being allowed and to end the loopholes that allow companies to avoid paying their taxes. We believe that if you make a profit in Canada, you should be able to contribute back to this country. You should be able to contribute to the services that allowed your company to make money in the first place. So New Democrats are in it for you. We're not trying to protect the profits of billionaires. We are fighting for you and your family to have the services and the infrastructure that you need.
Let's talk about taxes. They're a big political issue, especially now.
Countries like Estonia and Latvia have experimented with simpler tax systems. The result? Fewer loopholes, less bureaucracy, and more trust.
Sweden is also known to have some of the highest taxes in the world, and without costing its economy. So how did a country with fewer than 10 million people pull it off?
The short version of the story is that Sweden and the other Nordic countries, they have high taxes and they have a fairly good economic performance. The simple explanation is that you cannot judge the effect of taxes without knowing what they are financing. And in the Nordic countries, a large part of taxes goes to finance education, health and other things which in various ways actually support the labor supply and high employment rates.
In other words, Sweden has been able to support both high taxes and high economic growth because of how it spends those taxes. Tax revenue supports generous childcare programs, gives employees vast leave of absence opportunities, and helps offer basically free higher education. Those programs, in turn, help make Swedish citizens more employable. They also don't have to ration big portions of their paychecks to things like daycare or student loans. That makes them better consumers. But it's up to Swedish politicians to decide how to spend tax revenue. This is Johan Norberg. He's a senior fellow at the Cato Institute.
We've got more revenue from the people, so the politicians can put it to work where they find it most of interest to people or to themselves. You pay when you work, and it's distributed to yourself when you have children or when later on when you need more healthcare or something like that. So it's more a redistribution within the life cycle of people, more than a redistribution between different groups of people, from the rich to the poor. And so it means more public services, but it also means that we pay for it ourselves.
So what's the big deal against high taxes? In Sweden, they get you top-rated healthcare and higher education that doesn't put people in six-figure debt. In the US, advocates for lower income taxes say they stifle economic growth and consumer spending.
So therefore we have this paradox with Sweden and the other Nordic countries that tax rates are relatively high, but at the same time employment rates are high. So it's hard to say that taxes or tax wages in themselves are causing huge negative effects on employment. That's simply not the case.
In fact, Sweden has one of the highest employment rates, with over 77% of working-age citizens employed as of the third quarter of 2018. To compare, the same rate clocks in at 71% in the United States. A 2012 study showed that countries with higher taxes can stifle entrepreneurial success. But that hasn't been the case in Sweden. Some tax dollars go into a leave of absence program that allows a worker to take unpaid time off while retaining job security and status. In 1998, Sweden started the Right to Leave to Conduct a Business Operation Act. It gives employees the right to take a leave of absence of up to 6 months to start their own company. That is, if the company won't be a competitor to their current employer.
Even the Bible talks about fair giving. In Luke 3:13, John the Baptist said, "Don't collect any more than you are required to." Fairness has always been a moral principle, not just an economic one. People are already demanding this change because they know that without it, the burden falls hardest on those with the least. AI could instantly calculate a fair percentage for everyone, track payments in real time, and flag suspicious offshore transfers before they become scandals. According to the World Bank, AI-assisted tax monitoring has already increased compliance rates in pilot programs across Africa and Asia. A flat, fair percentage for all means dignity for all. Roads, schools, hospital, the basics we all depend on. This isn't about politics, it's about balance, and balance is what keeps a society standing. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you want, feel free to watch any of these other videos where I start from. So there's there's 9 in total, I think, series that I wanted to do to make a world a better place. And meanwhile, I also want to just as I finish that, I'm gonna start living my life a little bit more, and I'm gonna try blogging a little bit more. But I really do feel that this is important, so that's why I'm sharing my thoughts, and yeah, and we'll go from there. Peace on the streets.